Hello nerds and normies, my name is TV Skyen and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where everything's normal. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Everything's completely normal. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everything's normal. Anyway, let's go talk to Alphino about doing some quest stuff. Or Y'shtola. Let's talk to Y'shtola about it. In my youth, I had the honor of studying under Matoya. In the field of etheric research, she was without rival. I have no doubt that her knowledge will be of aid to our cause. The question is, will she share it with us? My master has ever been willful. The gods forbid anyone disagrees with her. When the Garlean Empire first marched upon Eorzea some 15 years ago, the denizens of Sharlayan were summoned back to the motherland. However, Matoya refused to join the exodus. To this day, she lives a hermit's life on the fringes of the abandoned city. So, it is to the Dravanian hinterlands we must go, to the place of my birth. Though Alice and I were born in Sharlayan, our days there were short. We remained only until the exodus and have not returned since. Oh, so it's to be a homecoming then. As fine a reason as any to go to Sharlayan, and it will afford us the opportunity to pay my master a visit. I believe you have mistaken our primary objective, Y'shtola. At any rate, the journey will take us through the largely unknown territory. Let us first return to Ishgard and make our preparations. So, this is the Holy See. I should like to linger a while and take in the sights, but it must wait till after our mission. God, but she looks so much better in this. Like, it's wild how much more of a character she becomes. We managed to find Y'shtola. Given time, I'm sure we'll be reunited with the others as well. Hey! Sharlayan is situated in the Dravanian hinterlands. To get there, we must strike west and traverse the breadth of the Dravanian footlands. Make no mistake, it will be a grueling journey. The party shall be comprised of Break, Y'shtola, and myself. Tataru, pray remain in Ishgard and continue the search for our missing friends. Yes, sir. First, let us make for Tailfeather. Okay. When we last set foot here, Istinian and Ysel were with us. Though it was not that long ago, I find myself strangely taken by nostalgia. A long soak in the livestream followed by a long journey. I would not recommend it to anyone. We teleported, don't be dramatic. But rest assured, my strength is returning to me. I shall be back to my former self ere long. Oh, I kind of like that, actually. If only it had a skull on it. Like, just a skull there. Instead of, like this, a little skull. That would be cool. I believe I'm sufficiently rested. Let us continue west to Sharlayan. Once we descend the mountain path, we will arrive at the Dravanian hinterlands. From there, it is but a short distance to the city. Be warned that we shall be passing through Nath territory. We must needs be aware of them and the dragons both. I wouldn't worry too much about the dragons, but yeah.
To the Thaliac River, where to the melted snows of Abelathia's spine eventually find their way by means of 1,000 silver streams. Whose waters have long nourished the Dravanian hinterlands, and so provided for a settlement of learned souls from across the northern seas. To the city of Sharlayan, that great seat of knowledge now abandoned by her keepers, they came.
Is this gonna be every time he says that with those two words? Matoya dwells on the far side of the Thaliac River. Let us search for a crossing. Wow, gee, if only I had a mount that could fly. If only. But I can't because of etheric currents. I see the chorus line has assembled. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Nicely coordinated with the hair, too. Is that like your, gourmand, the chef cook thing? I think that's a cook weapon, right? That's a frying pan? Or is that like... Is that a... Wait, that's not Gilgamesh. Was that... Huh. Okay. So this is like kind of Star Wars, isn't it? Like a little bit with the... At least, like, there is an area on Alderaan in the Old Republic MMO that reminds me a lot of this. Like, both in terms of architecture and the general environment design. Very sort of... There is a sort of sci-fi alien thing to the... Like, to those really tall spires. Anyway, where am I going? This way. Yeah, like, this is like... Oh, okay. Game got very excited I unlocked a new map piece. This is like pure Naboo, isn't it? Like, this is very Phantom Menace. The way that it's put together. It really is. Ooh, hello. Oh, that's a cool robot. Dead robot. Prototype Magitech, huh? Wait, did they make the Magitech here? Is that what that's saying?
The bridge ahead is collapsed. I'm afraid we shan't be crossing there, but worry not. I know another way. You see the towering structure to the north? We should be able to cross there.
15 years abandoned, and already Sharlayan has fallen into such disarray. Verily, a city is no more than its inhabitants.
Any second now, a couple of guys in ghillie suits are going to come crawling by. 50,000 people used to live here, Soap. Now it's a ghost town.
Hang on, let me just get another view of the... Ooh. Could we get, like, a broader view of the... I wouldn't happen to be able to climb this, would I? Nope, not quite. Nyeh. No. Okay. I want kind of a bird's eye view of the city, but I guess that'll have to wait. But man, like, it's the thing I noted back when we first came to the snowfields. Outside of Ishgard. But you can really just feel how much bigger the maps are in Heavensward. Like, how much more open the world feels, and how much bigger it feels. Oh, if someone has a two-seater, I'd love to get a ride. They just fly up really high. Up we go! Yay! Yeah, I mean, the LOD does ruin the vista a little bit, but that's just the way it is with video games. But no, yeah, like, I'm getting a sci-fi vibe from the way all of this is put together. I really am. And I really am getting some Star Wars. Like, in terms of the environment and the city design, I kind of am getting that. But you do feel just how much bigger, how much more expansive the environments can be in Heavensward relative to the way that they were in Realm. Like, in Realm Reborn, you had that
sort of classic MMO design where it's like, we want things to sort of like, to feel like they are probably big, but we don't want them to actually be big, right? Like, we don't actually want to allow too many vistas. It's about like the way that you design environments in MMOs is fascinating. I'm not an expert on it, but like there is a lot of craft that goes into like windowing, that goes into creating creating sites, like creating vistas that you can see and not see from different angles, like in order to create impactful scenes. And something Realm Reborn did quite well was it created. It was very good at that windowing. Like, if you run through the game on foot, especially, like, and you look around, you'll notice that there are lots of moments where, like, the environment is windowed in order to give you a certain perspective on things. But here, like, it's just evident that they have way more space to work with, really. I like that. Like, it feels different in Heavensward. It feels much bigger. It feels like the world is a lot more vast and open. And, like, that also sort of reveals some of the limitations of the game, like repetitions in texture, for example, become painfully obvious when the LOD is forced to be as wide as this. It does reveal some of the technical limitations that the game is operating under, but I think the trade-off is worth it. They tried those huge vistas in 1.0 and it ran with single-digit frame rates. Yeah, and that's always the that's always the trade-off that you have to do, right? It's like you're trading off graphical impressiveness for considerations for optimization and platform differences and what the rendering engines can take and so on. Interesting use of bagpipes in the music, too.
Knowledge seeks no man. So says the motto of Sharlayan engraved upon yonder stone. The meaning is simple. It falls to us to seek enlightenment. During the 6th Astral Era, at the turn of the 13th century, men from the northern nation of Sharlayan journeyed across the seas to Eorzea in search of knowledge. Upon arriving on these shores, they established a camp for their scholarly endeavors. Over time, this camp grew into a settlement, and the settlement prospered, and so much that it came to be counted amongst Eorzea's great city-states. Alas, those glory days are now but a fading memory. With her keepers lost to her, Sharlayan has become an empty husk of her former self.
Score! Outlander is mistaken! Sharlayan has new keepers! Is on cusp of new age of glory!
Goblins.
Oh, right, they wear masks. Goblins? Here to plunder the city.
Outlander is mistaken, muchly. We are not thieves. This place is our home.
Your home? When last I looked, it was mine and Alfino's. We were born here.
When Outlanders abandoned city, Outlanders gave up claim. Born here or no, Outlanders are trespassers.
My friends, please, we did not come here to dispute your claim to this land. Our purpose here is peaceful. We desire but to cross the river. Be calm, I beg you, and let us speak like civilized folk that we are. Surely we can come to a mutual understanding.
If that is truth, then Uplanders are welcome here. Come with Slowfix. Slowfix will show Uplanders settlement.
So character design note. So Slowfix here is literally just like a very slight alteration on all of his companions, right? And that's one of those classic character design things that, like, if you want to mark out it's literally what you do in the military, right? If you want to mark someone out as a leader, as like an important character, just like make them like if you have a race of characters that are all defined by looking exactly the same, well, You could probably do a lot less than slow fix here, but slow fix is very extra. Like, there's a lot extra going, like lots of gold and brass, like lots of extra ornamentation all over his character design. Like, even his backpack has like extra brass ornamentation on it relative to the others. That's kind of funny. Oh, Jesus. Suddenly music. Oh, that's a cute robot. That's a mount, I take it. I see everyone's bringing out the robots. Okay, so the goblins build robots. Is that what I'm meant to take from this? That's a nice coat. Oh, good color coordination between the shoes and the purse. That's nice. Anyway. Oh, hey! Xenon is back. Well, Goblin Town is the perfect place. Aww. Thank you. I don't have a house to put it in, but thank you very much.
Here is head of settlement. Name of Idylshire.
Or Idylshire. Depends on how English we want to be about it.
What we got here?
Guess. Greetings to you. I'm Elfino Levier, and may I introduce my companions, Brick Alpham and Ishtola. We've journeyed far in search of a friend and to seek to cross the river. Before and the main bridge collapsed, you went looking for a detour and ended up stumbling into Slowfix and his crew, is that right? That's the short of it, aye. This place, Idylshire. I came expecting a ghost town. Suffice it to say, I'm surprised to find it so alive. Well, there's been precious artifacts lying about. It was only a time before treasure hunters like me moved in. But we weren't the first to arrive, neither. By then, Slowfix and his gobby friends were already settled.
At first, gobbies and hunters disliked each other, but understanding came, and then friendship. Now, gobbies and hunters have joined hands to build great new nation.
So, that is what happened after we Sharlayans departed.
Oh, so you're locals?
No hot feelings, I hope. All these nice buildings, but no one to live in them. Felt like a waste, you know?
Yep. Fuck the landlords, occupy empty buildings.
We've been trying to put the place to rights, no? We've got things going well for the most part. But ain't all smooth sailing. Not to sound ungrateful, but the traps you people left lying about are a bloody nuisance. And there's the
fucking Illuminati?
And there's the Illuminati harrying us day and night.
Oh, Slowfix has bright idea. Uplanders desire mutual understanding, yes? Best way of understanding is helping one another. Help citizens of Idylshire, and Uplanders can be citizens too. Citizens are free to cross river.
Oh well, I'm not aware of a quicker way to reach our destination. Let us assist Slowfix and his people.
That is kind of stylish. I think I want that. I want to grab that just in case I do a samurai, because I would like to have a very simple weapon option for that. The Illuminati is one of the weird localization decisions in the game. They're called something like the Blue in Japanese. That is a weird decision. Sharlayans colonized this place to the detriment of all other races. Yeah. I have no trouble believing that. So someone in chat said I should look behind me because the most important goblin was there. Not sure who they meant. Oh, really? Is it because of the name? Half 6 whole pics. Fuck's sake. Nobody post whole pics in chat. You're gonna get me banned. We're not allowed. It's against the TOS. If you want to post whole, you have to use OnlyFans. For fuck's sake. Man. Oh, that's nice. You look like a fucking nerd. Brackets affectionate. Like a nerd with good fashion sense, right? Like a nerd who like knows how to dress and is like, but like with like those square glasses and that little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. Like nerd, brackets affectionate. Ooh, that's like a pirate glam. Ooh, fancy. That is fancy. Anyway, I keep getting distracted. Need to quest. Quest for the things. Thing for the quests. Also, Nala Cosmia asked for a thing. Where is Nala Cosmia? Are they around here somewhere? Ah, there she is. Ooh. Ooh, nice hat. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's okay. I like that. The hat is the thing, right? That's the thing hats are usually very good at. Like, hats are very good at being, like, the framing device for a character design or for an outfit. Like, whatever the hat does, you sort of... there's a tendency to read the rest of the character design through that lens. Like, in the same way that, I don't think we have him here right now, but that one Rogadin who follows me around who has that giant pink pompadour, right? Like, no matter what he wears on that character, so long as the bright pink pompadour is there, that sort of defines the reading of the entire outfit that he's wearing. Like, there's no... it's a statement piece. It overrides everything else, and everything else becomes a reaction to the hairdo. Hats are good at doing the same thing. It kind of has the same function here, because, like, assume there's no hat, right? Without the hat, this becomes a fairly sort of, like, it looks fairly functional, like, with, like, the armored gloves and, like, the coat. Like, maybe not so much the stockings, but it sort of looks like a fairly down-to-earth, functional... Like, it doesn't really have a strong vibe on its own, but then the hat comes in there. Now it's gone. Oh, God! But you can see what happens, right? Like, without the presence of the hat... and with the presence, that changes the vibe of the outfit, because with that little cute hat that's like too small and sits on top of the head and is kind of askew, it becomes like, oh, this becomes fashionable now. Like, this feels cute. This feels a little bit more like oh, okay, this is meant to be like a fashionable piece more than necessarily a practical one. And that's just the power of hat, right? Which is why I am bitter that I can't have one. Very annoying, because you could do so many good things with a hat, like in terms of changing the vibe of a character design. But no, yeah, like good color coordination. Like, yeah, the only thing I'd say for color coordination is that, like, your aura scales have like a bluish tint. Like, they're gray, but it's like a cold gray. And that, like, with the hair has a contrast thing, and you could reproduce that in the rest of the outfit. Like, you could add a red accent to something somewhere, to bring the hair into the outfit more, because right now it's that thing of, like, people don't change they don't use a Fantasia or go to the aesthetician just for a glam. But if you wanted to, you could do more to sort of tie the color temperature of the hair to the outfit. But that's, like, the only note I would have for this outfit on your character. It's well put together, though. I like the distinction between, like, this overcoat that's really kind of sensible, and, like, with the gauntlets and the gloves, and then stockings. Like, there's something delightful about that. And that, again, like with the hat, like, the stockings help that thing the hat does with turning into fashion. Right. What were we doing? Right, quests. Slowfix wants you to eliminate the goblins that prowl Idylshire. No, the golems, not the goblins. The goblins would have been like, I want you to kill all my friends.
So Uplanders agree to help? Good. Here's what Slowfix wants Uplanders to do. Many golems prowl Idylshire. Get in the way of expansion plans. Slowfix wants Uplanders to eliminate golems. Uplanders are Sharlayan, yes? Sharlayan should know best way to deal with creatures.
So, we have to eliminate the golems. That should be a simple enough affair. The automata were employed as sentinels, and by design can be unmade with a coded command. At the time of the Exodus, it was noughts and crosses, and I see no reason why it should not still work. Let us divide the task between the three of us, the quicker to be finished with it. With the chat mode in say, use your keyboard or software to enter the coded command to unmake a golem. Okay. Just gonna load that into my chat box like a bullet and go destroy some robot consciousnesses. Sorry, buddy. You have to die. Don't worry, you don't have a soul. Oh my god, look at that. Girl, fucking that coat, man. That's a really nice coat. Anyway, I do like the little detail. You see how goblin buildings kind of have those eyes on them? Like, they sort of have the same aesthetic as the goblins themselves. Right? Eyes. I like that. That's cute.
Call him, shall no more. Wonderful. Now we can return to work to expand settlement.
Ooh, nice knives. Don't need them, though.
Uplanders hold Goblin and right to be citizens of Idylshire. But Slowfix must ask another favor.
Another favor, you say?
Short time ago, dear friend of Slowfix wanted into Illuminati territory. Illuminati are nasty goblins. Show no mercy even towards Goblin. Slowfix fears for friend's life. Please find friend before Illuminati do.
I'm suddenly taken with a sense of foreboding. Be that as it may, we cannot turn a blind eye. Let us make haste and find Slowfix's friend. Oh, that big building in the center has your tombstone vendor for level 62. Oh.
Let's go have a look at that.
Oh, that sure is a free company name. How did you how is that not filtered? How is that not filtered? What the hell? Oh my god, really? You'd think a word filter would pick that up immediately. I think there was, I think it was in Spain or Portugal? I can't remember. But they did run have a thing where they named the buses. They had like a mascot for the buses, and they called him Buzzy the Bus. And they didn't know that has a very different connotation in English. So the internet went a little crazy with it. Wait, Brayflock's all talks? Why does that sound familiar to me? It is the owner of Brayflock's long lock stop. Ah.
Oh, goodly Uplander. Long time no eye catch. What is bringing Uplander here? Does Uplander have lusty eyes for junk of Brayflocks? Uplander must not be touching junk of Brayflocks. Brayflocks is finding junk first.
I knew I recognized that voice. Greetings, Brayflocks. It has been a while. Forgive us for interrupting your work, but Captain Whiskate gave me to understand that you are marked by the Illuminati. This happened to be Illuminati-held territory. Is it wise to be here?
Sir, Brayflocks eat Illuminati for synapses.
Ooh, fancy gear.
Chico, it's who for synapses. Oh? Brayflocks all talks. Otherwise are you to come here for dirty talking secret knowings of cheese make from Illuminati?
He insulted their cheese?
Brayflocks did no unright. Cheese recipe is Gobby birthright. Save 10 flaps for trading and death pit.
Oh. Uh-oh. Really? Oh my god.
Pray to Godfathers, the punishment is near times.
It appears we have no choice.
Well, yeah, you needed to get back in action.
Illuminati no match for furious godfish of Brayflax. More junk is awaiting Brayflax muchly. Brayflax is taking leave of Uplanders.
Being embroiled in a cheese war was the last thing I expected coming to Sharlayan. At any rate, we have fulfilled Slowfix's request. Let us return with the good tidings and be on our way.
Goblin names ending with OX is female and IX is male, if I remember correctly. Ah, interesting naming convention.
Uplanders are back! Did Uplanders find friend of Slowfix? Time is not cured recklessness of Brayflax. Without help from Uplanders, Brayflax would now be a dead gobby. Slowfix owes Uplanders debt of gratitude. Slowfix and Brayflax are joined by inseparable gobby bond. If Slowfix had known that Uplanders are friends of Brayflax, Slowfix would have welcomed Uplanders to Gobbyflax at first meeting. Uplanders have upheld bargain most highly. As promised, Slowfix makes Uplanders avid citizens of Idylshire, free to cross river at will. Though Uplanders must leave for now, Slowfix hopes that Uplanders will pay many visits and help build a great new nation.
You're most kind, my friend. You may be certain that we will return. I must confess, at first it upset me to learn that my home had been occupied by others, but I see now that it is in good hands. Under your care, I look forward to seeing Sharlayan thrive once more, to become a home to people of all races and creeds.
Slowfix has already ordered the Gobwatch to let Uplanders through. Safe travels!
Alphino, Brick, shall we then?
By order, Chief Slowfix, Uplanders can come and go at will. One moment for clearing away barricade.
You're not gonna do it with explosives, are you?
Finally, we can continue on our journey.
Oh, they're doing it with explosives? Don't worry, I'm a tank. You could have called fire in the hole.
Ahem. Barring any misadventure, we shall soon arrive at the cave where Matoya resides.
A cave! Of course a cave.
Unless you have unfinished business in Idylshire, let us strike out at once. I'm ready whenever you are. Let us go and meet the legendary Matoya.
Off we go.
Ahead lies the answering quarter, where the scholars of Sharlayan gathered to hone their knowledge. Even from this distance, 'tis plain that much of it has been given back to the wilderness. The cave in which Matoya resides is situated on the southern edge of the hinterlands. In choosing this spot, my master desired privacy above all else. As such, the cave is extremely well hidden. You'll not find it unless you know to look for it. We shall follow the road south until we reach a bridge. Rather than cross it, however, we shall ford the stream it spans, thence head straight until we arrive at the base of a bluff.
That's a cool look. Very sort of Assassin's Creed-ish. Well, a little bit more warrior than that, but like, yeah, that's a solid out. Like the mask is like doing the lifting for like really making the vibe of the piece, but that's pretty good. Anyway, this time, onwards. That's something in games, right? Like when you play a game like Skyrim, for example, the temptation is just to book it straight across the field to whatever the hell your destination is. But actually, in games like Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, like a lot of open world games like that, follow the roads. Like, because the game designers put a lot of stuff just along the roads. Like a lot of like windowing, a lot of vistas, a lot of sights, a lot of things tend to happen along the roads. So I've found that like I have a lot more fun in a game like Skyrim if I try and plan my journey to somewhere by following the roads. Yeah, I mean, you with Skyrim, I keep forgetting this. With Skyrim, you do need to download a mod to get the map to be useful, because under normal circumstances, it fucking ain't. But like here, even as we're following it here, we're getting kind of a nice tour of the place, right? But like, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine playing Skyrim without mods anymore.
All kinds of herbs grow here, and they appear very well tended. This is the entrance. You seem unconvinced, Brick? Well, that will only add to the surprise. A word of warning before we proceed. Stubborn geniuses make poor hosts, and time will have done naught to improve my master's temperament. Doubt not that there will be sentinels and traps both to deter unwanted guests, but we'll not be deterred, will we? Go on and touch the wall yonder. You will want to have your weapon near at hand.
Okay. Fancy. Again, the thing I said about headgear, here it's the crown. Right, like the crown defines so much of how you read the rest of the outfit. Relative to if it had been a flat cap, for example.
Those sentinels may suffice to discourage the average trespasser, but not the warrior of light. The way should now be clear. Come, let us go and see my master.
Don't you know it's rude to enter without knocking? The youth of today. No manners at all.
Hey, an old person! Wow. But, yes.
Though we neglected to knock, we did create something of a commotion. I had hoped that would suffice.
That is straight up just Matoya from Final Fantasy I.
Heavy-handed as ever, I see. And still not a hint of grace. Some things never change.
To give credit where credit is due, I learned from the best. It has been too long, Master Matoya.
Indeed it has. Oh, it's good to see you again, my girl. And with your fiery spirit unquenched. But look at you, all grown up and womanly.
The new outfit really does help, yeah.
The one there in the fancy duds. That's Louis Soir's granddaughter, I take it?
Grandson, begging your pardons. You knew my grandfather, my lady.
Knew him? Ha! We were constantly at each other's throats. Like rabid dogs we were. Oh, he was a stubborn bugger, was your grandfather. Never a dull moment when he was around, though, I'll give him that. As for you, boy, I've known you since you were a rosy-cheeked babe at the teat.
And my sister too, I gather. May I say what an honor it is to meet you again, my lady?
Spare me the hollow pleasantries, boy. I'll wager my remaining good teeth you didn't come to
I like her.
corner of Eorzea to flirt with a wrinkly old woman. Now out with it. What is it you need of me?
Oh, the brooms! Oh, that's perfect. Holy shit. Okay, we'll talk about that.
Azizla. I never thought I'd hear that name again.
You are familiar with it.
As familiar as one can get from poring over musty old tomes. The Alagons set the Isle afloat not long before the sun set on their empire. Old Louis Soir and I often talked about it. Hey! The place is home to a research facility dedicated to finding ways of mastering mighty beings, such as primals and dragons. And find ways it did too, frightening ones. Such secrets as lie buried on Azizla aren't fit to see the light of day. And now you tell me a band of dragon-baiting primal botherers are trying to dig them up?
Indeed. And to make matters worse, the Ascians have a hand in their plot. They must be stopped, no matter the cost.
I see. Very well.
You will help us then? Truly? I had not anticipated such an impassioned response. Could it be that the presence of young blood has stirred your own?
Ah, some things never change. One day that pertness is going to cost you your tail, my girl. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Yes, we get to explore. Yes, good. So, entrance, yes. And then... yes! Let's sweeping love, yeah. So that is a reference. In Final Fantasy I, the brooms there are these living brooms in Matoya's cave you can talk to, and they give you a message backwards, right? That translates into something like you can press select to see the world map. I think that's what they say, something along those lines. Because there's no tutorial in Final Fantasy I at all. So if you don't know about how to see the world map in the game, you kind of have to go and decode this secret message from a broom that will then allow you to bring up the world map so you can see where the hell you are. But that, a lot of players probably missed that, which is one of the things about Final Fantasy I, right? It's a much less player-friendly game than they are these days. Let's see. Nothing to see here. Yeah, they knew you'd try and find something. Let's see. I live to sweep. Let's see. None shall bite the dust. Dust and sweeping puns. Haha. Can you get anything good here? I mean, probably not, but... yeah, nah. Anyway, let's have a look at Matoya. I think the scales are also present in her cave. I think not in the original maybe, but in the Pixel remasters? Something like that, but oh, what a perfect character design for old Matoya. It comes from a completely different aesthetic, right? Oh, damn it. Left mouse button. It comes from a very different aesthetic than much of the rest of Final Fantasy. She's almost a cartoon character, right? Slug, yeah, there's a little bit of a sort of snail-like aspect to the way that she's put together. But with this sort of starry, flowy robe and that incredibly gnarled and hoary staff, and her whole vibe with the big flat wizard hat and shit, it's a very different vibe of Like, from most other... Like, if you think of, like, the mage guild leaders, right, in the game, none of them look anything like this. This is, like, classic witch character design, right? Like, classic, ancient, classic fantasy, classic. Just need to say that 5 more times to complete the set. Very old school fantasy character design. Like, really a big throwback of a thing, which is appropriate for her because she's an old character, like, in the universe of the game, and she's a throwback to Final Fantasy 1. She's a throwback to that very beginning of the whole franchise, back when it was, in many ways, a much more cartoony franchise. Ah, excellent. Excellent. And an old person, too. Like, wow. Can you imagine? People who are allowed to be old? In Eorzea? Where everyone otherwise is young all the time? Even, like, remember when we met Y'shtola's mom, air quotes? Like, oh, no, yeah, definitely. She looks so much older than Y'shtola. Wow. And not just be old, but look old. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a thing about, like, especially in like, Japanese video games, but, like, in video games in general, let's be honest, Western video games too, there's such a fear of letting women show signs of age, right? Like, in character design, in the way that characters are put together in general. Minfilia's, right, not Y'shtola. Minfilia's adopted mom, right? But, like, the idea that she's supposed to look any older than Minfilia at all is, like, laughable, visually speaking. Because Minfilia is supposed to be, what, 20? Something like that? Yeah, and the idea that Flamen is pushing 40, like, no. Like, so age, as a character design feature, right, is something that gets confined to special exceptions, right? The game makes special exceptions for characters that are allowed to display signs of age, and that is only if they have an archetype that requires it, right? So, Louis Soir, for example, Matoya in this case, but, like, characters where, like, being old is, like, kind of part of their deal, right? Kind of part of their vibe, kind of part of what they're supposed to be. Then, like, the character designers get to make them old, and then they get to be really old. Like, then they get to show all of the signs of aging. But if they're not, like, any other character, like, just can't be old. Like, you cannot make a Vieira male character that looks like they're over the age of, like, 24. You can't do it. You cannot make a cat girl who looks like she's 40. You can't do it. You cannot, like, it's because character design simply doesn't allow for the idea that aging could be something positive, something aspirational, something that a person might want to embody as a part of fantasy, as a part of self-creation, that, like, being older is a vibe, is a thing that's interesting, right? That's fun. It is conceptualized exclusively as, like, a thing that, like, yeah, like, yeah, you know. It's like a thing that it's not conceptualized as desirable. In the same way that fatness is not conceptualized as something that can be desirable. Like, no one could possibly want this, right? Like, only some very small segment of, like, fetishistic freaks might want to have a fat character, but no one else could possibly want to. Like, that kind of thing. That's sort of that's one of those things that piss me off about the way that character design, especially in games like Final Fantasy 14 rather. Games like MMOs and stuff, where so much of the game and so much of what's great about the game is self-creation, right? Like, is the ability to create yourself, to express yourself through a character that you make who becomes, like, a representation of you in the digital space. Except, fuck you if you're fat. Except, fuck you if you want, if part of your aspirational fantasy is to be older. Except, fuck you if, like, you know, if you want any kind of non-standard, non-normative body, because we're just not going to design for that, because we have decided that that's not worth it, right? That's not worth the resources, that's not worth the investment, that's not worth it to us to allow the player that option. Instead, we would rather, like, spend our money on other things that we've decided are more important, right? And I'm not saying that there isn't I'm not saying that, like, they sat down and, like, maliciously twirled their evil mustaches and go, no fat people shall be allowed to exist in the ocean. I think they sat down and just kind of assumed no one wants this, it's not important, it's not worth prioritizing the ability to do this relative to all the other concerns that we have, right? And there are a lot of concerns, like when they were rebuilding Realm Reborn after 1.0. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that needed to get done. There was a limited amount of resources. It's fair that there's a prioritization. It's just, in gaming in general, systemically, the prioritization is essentially always, fuck you if you want to be anything other than normative, right? You are an outsider, you are an exception, you're conceptualized as irrelevant to the world and to us from a commercial and an artistic perspective. And that sucks. Like, it annoys me that, like, you run into characters like Matoya, and apparently the game just assumes, like, no one could possibly want to roleplay this. No one could possibly want this to be part of expression for a character that they want to play with. Or at least not enough people that it's worth it to us. Like, artistically and in terms of resources, we don't care. Because it's more important to us, like, other things. It's a commercial judgment that's probably true, right? Like, from a commercial perspective, it's probably true. Like, that's not going to bring in a lot of new subscribers. That's not going to bring in a lot of new players who are, like, excited to play as an old woman. There probably aren't a lot of those from a commercial perspective, but from a human perspective, from an artistic perspective, like, I think it feels wrong to me to create these enormous digital worlds where people get married, where people meet, where they lead entire lives, where they do all this, and then to create them with this almost violent exclusion of bodies that aren't normative, right? Bodies that aren't within the beauty ideal, that aren't within the aspirational ideal. That feels like, to me, that feels like an ethical problem, honestly. Like that, and not a problem with Square Enix specifically, but a problem with the systems that govern how resources are spent on these things. I.e., la problema es capitalismo. Or whatever. I can't speak Spanish, but it's a meme phrase. The problem is capitalism. Again. Anyway, el problema es el capitalismo. Yeah, like that, probably. No, it's not a vanity problem. Like that, I think saying that is individualizing it. I think saying that is like sort of saying, oh, if only people change their attitude, then like capital would follow. It's like, yeah, but capital also shapes attitude, right? Like capital, when all of our media consistently portrays age, fatness, non-normative or even just like fucking skin textures, right? No one in Eorzea has a sit, ever. No one in Eorzea has a little bump or something on their nose. No one in Eorzea has an imperfection in their skin, ever. No one does. It just isn't present on anyone, ever. And like, when that's the media image that's constantly present everywhere in gaming, everywhere. Like, World of Warcraft does this. No one has body hair, as Pocket Pole saying. Like, when these bodies are constructed in this way, not just in Final Fantasy XIV, but everywhere. Everywhere in gaming, everywhere in media, all the fucking Marvel movies. No one has body hair in Marvel movies. No one. Right? When we do that systemically over and over and over again across all of our media, I think that fucks us up. Like, I think that fucks with how the brain thinks the body is supposed to look. I think that gives a lot of people really bad insecurities about completely normal things about their bodies. Completely normal things. Right? Having a sit is normal. Having pores that are visible is normal. Having a bit of body fat is normal. Like, all of these motherfuckers in this game are 0% body fat. Even my fucking Hrothgar. Right? Like, just, like, chiseled out of stone. He's a big dude, but, like, there's no belly at all. I know bodybuilders. I've seen them with posting their thirst traps and shit. You know that when they let go of their abs, they have a belly, right? They have a stomach. Everyone does. No one looks like this unless they're pulling in their stomach actively or they are severely dehydrated and starving. But this is normal for Eorzea. This is what the normal Hrothgar body looks like, right? Under normal circumstances. And I think it fucks with people. Like, again, not just Final Fantasy XIV, not just World of Warcraft, not just, like, whatever, but when it's everywhere, all the time, everywhere. I think that fucks with us, and I think that is an ethical problem with capitalism, is that it has an economic incentive to create these bodies, to show these bodies in this way all the time, forever, because that is the beauty ideal, and that's the thing that sells, therefore we must show it, and every time we show it, we reinforce it so that no other ideals for a body can have space in media. Right? And it's not because anyone is sitting down conspiratorially twirling their mustaches going, like, there's nobody in smoky back rooms laying a Illuminati plot for fucking up the world's body image. It's just the economic incentives that exist under capitalism cause this thing to happen over and over and over again. Because it just makes money to do things this way. Right? And that's bad, I think. Hot take, controversial hot take. I think that's bad. I think that is not good. Anyway, Matoya is in a mood to reminisce. Well, let's listen to her then.
"'Twas some 50 years ago, shortly after Garlemald had brought all of Ilsabard under its rule. Faced with the threat of invasion, the people of Sharlayan scrambled about for a means to resist the Empire. For my part, I was tasked with developing an etheric converger.
Ah, yes, a device which draws in ether and concentrates it to produce a destructive force.
But as my research neared its end, it was denounced by the Forum, who claimed that my device was more likely to destroy us than our enemies. After that, they and I had a little falling out, and I decided to seal away all the fruits of my research, lest the dunder-headed ingrates reap any benefit. Ha! Petty, I know, but gods, it was satisfying.
Do mine ears deceive? 'Twas you, was it not, who was so fond of saying that all knowledge exists to advance mankind, that how it is used depends on us?
I don't remember. Perhaps. All right, yes. It was a pet phrase of mine. And that should give you a notion of how sick and tired I was of those spineless wretches of the Forum. All talk and no trousers, that lot. That's why I decided to remain behind, rather than join the Exodus.
You may have had your disagreements with my grandfather, but upon that point, your minds were as one.
With respect, Master, the fruits of your research should not be left to spoil. Will you share with us the secrets of the etheric converger?
Aye, I will. All the information you need is contained in a tome I wrote on the subject. But you'll have to fetch it from the forbidden section of the Great Library.
Ah, you were not exaggerating when you said that you had sealed it away. Though the city is abandoned, the library's guardians are all but certain to remain. We must needs cut a path through them. Come, let us away.
Not so fast. You don't expect that you can just waltz on in now, do you?
After talking with Matoya for 5 minutes, you get where Y'shtola learned to be sassy. Yeah. So, I think we're going to call it there. If you've enjoyed hanging out in the world of Final Fantasy XIV with me and listening to my interminable ranting, sorry about that, you can hit the like, comment, and or subscribe buttons down below. That'll let you know when new episodes are coming out. There's the spiel on that. You can become a member of the channel to get early access to new episodes. You can head on over to the Twitch and either subscribe to it to see the VODs of the whole thing, or just follow it and you can see these episodes being recorded live. Usually happens on the weekends. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another.
Have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.